BYU
Sorry,
football
Tanner.
will be playing on the other side of the country, Eastern Time Zone, against West Virginia. And to preview the matchup tomorrow in Landover and the home of the Washington Redskins, FedEx Field, is Dwight Wallace joining us on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline, West Virginia football analyst. Dwight, welcome to the show, man.
Happy to be with you guys. You're excited? We're excited, I can tell you that.
Holy cow, absolutely. And I think it goes back to something that Ed Lamb, the assistant head football coach at BYU, said yesterday, where this schedule for BYU feels like a bowl game every week. And I feel like with the neutral site and BYU and West Virginia having never played, it kind of feels like a bowl game in September.
Absolutely. I don't think there's any question. What an unbelievable schedule you guys have been playing. I know one thing, sometimes early in the year you worry about, you kind of have a hard time getting a feel about what type of new opponent you're going to play because you don't know them and you don't know their opponents. But I'll tell you what, you guys lined up an all-star group there, so you've played the very best, and so we don't have to worry about that part. We know you're a good team.
When you look at West Virginia, the Mountaineers are one of the last two undefeated teams in the Big 12 with wins against Missouri and Youngstown State. What do you feel like you know about this West Virginia through two games?
Well, we know we don't have an identity yet. I think that's the one thing we know. We're still searching for that. A lot of new faces, guys, on our defense. We had a pretty senior group last year and played, our defense has been a work in progress ever since Coach Holgerson came here to West Virginia. But last year we kind of felt we hit our stride, but then we graduated a bunch of kids. So now we got some new faces in there, so we're trying to figure that out. Offensively last year, we had a bunch of new faces at the receiver group, but they're back. So we're feeling a little bit better about the offense because we do have a few more experienced players on the offense, and plus we're more settled at quarterback than we were a year ago. So we're still trying to find ourselves. I don't know that we really have an identity yet, but we've seen some good things. We've seen some things to work on. We did have an off week last week, so I think they were able to go back and fundamentally correct some things where they made errors in the first two games.
BYU's defense has been one of the best in the nation, giving up around 17 points a game against good competition, as you noted, Dwight. But this West Virginia team feels like they can score on any defense because they have explosive players all over the field, a ton of team speed. How do you think the Mountaineers will try and attack BYU's conservative defense tomorrow?
Well, it'll be interesting. I'm like you guys. I'm kind of excited to see. Coach Holgerson came in here, and it was pretty much air raid to start with. And we did have some talented kids, a quarterback and receivers, and we kind of adopted to that. But then he went through some years where we didn't have an established quarterback, or we had some weakness at receiver, but he did have some talented running back. So he has developed into a more balanced approach offensively. And matter of fact, it's not uncommon for us to be really pretty close to 50% run pass when we end a game. So, it's hard to tell. I know that your defense has done a terrific job against the run, so it's going to be a huge challenge for our offensive line and for our running backs there, and then also to our offensive line when it comes to pass protection. So I know you've got the attention of the coaches and the players, that's for sure.
And Karan White added to that with some locker room fodder this week, telling the media he doesn't think the BYU cornerbacks can keep up with the wide receivers of West Virginia. What do you think of that assessment? Because I thought that created a little more fun this week.
Boy, sometimes you need tape when you just don't have it, yeah, I don't know. We do have some speed at receivers. I think that's the one thing we've noted when Coach Holgerson came. He does have a way of attracting good speed at receivers. But I don't know. Watching you guys against the people you've played who also have excellent speed, you've done a nice job with your different coverages, but I think you've done a terrific job. So I don't know that it's going to be. I think it's going to be a heck of a challenge, and I know we're concerned both ways there. The height of your receivers is a real concern matchup-wise for us, and then the athleticism of your corners. I think I do think our kids can run, so that'll be one thing that'll be a challenge for your guys, but your guys can run too. So it's just a matter of timing, I think, and, is it coming off play action or drop back, or can we catch somebody looking into the backfield, that kind of thing. So you can't afford to spend too much time looking in the backfield because these guys will run by you.
Dwight Wallace, 16 years covering West Virginia football on the Mountaineer Radio Sports Network. Taysom Hill was, let's be honest. When he decided to come back to BYU, fans here were ecstatic. Now under Ty Detmer, the offense has struggled out of the gate against 3 P5 teams and now a 4th on Saturday. What are your impressions of this BYU offense, and what do you expect Taysom Hill, the fifth-year senior, to be able to do against the West Virginia defense that, like you said, has a lot of new faces?
Well, it's been interesting to me to watch what the teams you've previously played, how they've defended him, because obviously he has everyone's attention. I know he, of course, coming off the injury and all, that has to be a concern, but I'll tell you what, the guy looks effective to me, and I think he's just kind of getting ready to get going. I mean, I think the skills are all there, and when he pulls it down and runs with it, that's the X factor that can really break your back and sustain drives. So, I think he's big, he's strong, he can throw, he can run, he's poised, he's mature, he's been around. So, anytime you get a quarterback like that and then surround him with talent, and of course you've got, a big running back, you've got, good offensive line and big, tall receivers. I mean, it has to get your attention. So, I think we're looking forward to a big challenge there. And like I said before, we're still trying to find that identity of our defense. We don't know who we are. We do have some kids coming back in our defensive front, our defensive line, but so many new faces, a linebacker and receiver, and so there's going to be just a ton of interesting matchups out there come Saturday.
Dwight, what's the rhetoric among Mountaineer fans about this matchup in non-conference prior to Big 12 play with BYU at a neutral stadium?
Well, I think for us, you may as well be in conference. I mean, I
that's
know
what
our
we're hoping, Dwight.
Well, with all the expansion talk and all, and I think BYU is certainly one of the top schools being considered, but it won't be any difference for us in preparation. I can tell you it's got nothing to do with the quality of your football, that's for sure, because it feels to us like a Big 12 matchup, a Big 12 game, and I think our coaches and players are approaching it that way.
What is the Mountaineer football nation like? I know this game won't be played in Morgantown, and it's been described as one of the craziest, most raucous college football communities across the country. But you're in Landover at FedEx Field. So what do you expect from Mountaineer Nation, and how can you explain what that's like to BYU fans that have never experienced a game with the West Virginia football fan base?
Well, I get kind of excited about your guys' home there too. You get a little bit of craziness going on there, but yeah, Morgantown is a neat place. It's a little unique, and we're kind of tucked into the hills there. And this time of year, you start getting the leaves starting to change, and it's kind of a pretty drive down from the airport to the stadium. But the fans are loyal, and in West Virginia, we have no pro team in football or baseball or anything. So really, the Mountaineers become the college team, the pro team, the everything team, and people plan their vacations around the bowl trip. So if you don't make a bowl, you're in big trouble, So, but they do like their football here, and that's always exciting. When we were playing in the Big East, of course, we were traveling. They were mostly driving distances, and we had a huge following. In fact, there were many times we got bowl trips because they knew we'd bring a ton of people. It was not uncommon for us to take 20 or 25,000 to a bowl game. And but now that we're in the Big 12, we don't get quite that following. It's a plane ride, and we still get good following. I think we're probably average or a little better, but we don't get that kind anymore. So I'm kind of hoping we revert back to our Big East days and get everybody loading up the cars and headed to Washington, D.C. From Morgantown, it's about a 4-hour drive, something like that. So, and we have people, of course, in kind of there are 3, 4, 5 state area here that are West Virginia fans, and so it's doable. So I'm hoping that we can have a good crowd show up.
Dwight, it's been great to talk to you. We wish you safe travel to Landover, Maryland, the West Virginia football radio analyst. We'll talk to you again soon. Have a great call on Saturday.